So this is now task 3C, and the first part is about creating a form that will allow us to view and edit the instructors. So what we're going to look at in this bit is just the basics of creating a form. So we're going to be adding a logo, giving it its title, making these customizations here and adding these buttons. We're not going to worry yet about the total number of lessons or the next lesson, because we can do that in the next two parts, and also we can actually show evidence of what we've done so far without putting in this exact data. So we're just going to put some blank text boxes in for those at this stage. So we're going to create the form. We're going to use a form wizard, and everybody can do this. It's going to be based upon the instructor table. We want it to put all the fields into this form for us. We just leave it as a columnar form, and it says what title do you want for it? Well, it tells us to call it instructor form, so I'm going to call it instructor form. Click on finish, and here I have now a form with the title instructor form with all the fields on there, and if I go to the last field we can actually see some pictures as well. Okay, now some of this may need tidying up a little bit. For example, the charge and the maximum number of hours need to come in a touch, and we've got to decide, do we want everything left aligned, right aligned? Well, let's just change it all a little bit. So we'll pull in the instructor ID. I don't think you're going to get any marks for doing this, but it's good practice to try it out, and just in case there are any marks for it, we'll do it anyway. And the same with date of birth. Now if we want to make all of these left aligned, I'm using the shift key now to select all the number fields that weren't left aligned, and we'll change their format in the property sheet. Now if the property sheet isn't showing, just right hand click on one of them and select properties, and then we need to find alignment. Okay, so if we scroll down here you can see there you've got text align, and we'll put it on the left. Now we can view the form, and there we go, the data's there showing on the left hand side for us. So we've got some of the basics of our form done. We need to now make sure there are no scroll bars or minimum or maximize buttons, so that's quite easy. We need the property sheet for the form. At the moment we've got the property sheets for each of these things. If you click just here, right, and select that little square there, that will select the property sheet for the form. And what we want to do is get rid of the scroll bars. So under format, we should be able to see scroll bars. There they are. So we'll change that to be none. So neither. It also says that we shouldn't have minimize or maximize buttons. Well, they're both enabled there. So let's say none. Let's test it, make sure it works. There we go. No minimize or maximize buttons there. No scroll bars down here. Yeah, so we'll go back to our design view. We now need to have some customized buttons for new record, delete record and save record. So I'm going to create some more space here. We've got to put these other two text boxes there in a minute, so we'll leave space for those. I'm not going to do all these buttons for you, but we'll, well, I might as well, alright then. So we'll go for new button. So for a new record, just create the button. Go for a record operation, because we're not looking at navigation, and we want new record. Now I would normally put text on, but because we're only going to have 3 buttons, new, delete and save, I'm actually going to leave the pictures. I'm going to give it a sensible name. It's a button, so I'm going to use btn and then underscore new. There we go, there's my new record. Let's just show you how that was done again then. So here's the next button. So we'll create the next one. This is for our delete record. So it's a record operation delete. I'm not going to do save for you, I'm going to let you do that one yourselves. We'll use the picture because the picture makes sense. And we'll have here button delete. Okay, so the only thing we've got to do now is just put our text boxes ready for this data. We're not going to put this data in yet because you may not be capable of doing that. You need to judge how you're going to get on, and you need to annotate everything that you've done so far for 3C Part 2. Once you've annotated everything you've done so far for 3C Part 2, then decide whether you're going to move on to this. but it's not worth moving on to this, so you've got all your marks for what you've done so far. So we want a text box, okay, where we're going to put in the data here, the total number of lessons. So I'm just going to type there, total lessons. And if we use this little square here at the top corner, we can move that on its own and move it over to align it. So we'll do one more. So this is the text box option here. Draw the shape of the text box. I'm just leaving it unbound at the moment, it's not going to have anything in it. Use this little square to move it over, or move that too far. And this one is going to be the next lesson, which we're asked for just here. So let's see what this looks like. There we go. It doesn't say which instructor it's got to be. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to choose one of the ones of the picture so that I can prove that my picture works. And I'm just going to take a screenshot. The screenshot I'm going to take is going to be of the form. So I'm going to take a screenshot of that area there. Now I've got a piece of software. Watch this. When I do shift and print screen, it will let me take that screenshot like that. Okay, and it says there screenshot capture, it saved it. So the next two tutorials are going to be about putting in the total lessons and the next lesson, and that's going to involve some formulas. This one's probably around about grade C level, and the next lesson is around about grade B to grade A level. That's it for this one.